Hello guys, this is UIUX. If you're just coming on my channel for the first time, I'm going to be putting you through some of the questions that have been asked countless times. So next time when someone asks me this question, I will just send you this video, alright? And yeah, let's get straight into it. So many people have asked me, Davio, can you give us like a guide, or what would you say or advise us when it comes to interviews and how to answer these questions? And I decided to put down a note and create like a note I call script 101. All right, so this note is basically to guide me throughout the process of this video, and it's called script 101. Now let's get straight into it. The topic is smashing your interview. So this is basically what you should do before and during an interview. And the first thing I'm going to say is you need to make your own research. So a lot of people have said, how do I make this research, Davio? You basically need to make research by knowing if this brand has any products. You need to know if there's an existing mobile app or a website. And what I basically do is go through this mobile app or website to know one thing. I want to find a problem, and I want to also find the second thing, which is a complimentary note. So I want to know how would I complement this without and putting in letting them know I've gone through their platform and I spotted a problem. Let's use a use case. I went through a mobile app and I discovered that the onboarding screens were super amazing, and then I get into the app and then I'm lost on the navigations to take, or the actions to take next, or the way to carry out my tasks. All right, so that's the problem. I would bring that up in the softest and calmest way without painting a picture or sending a notion that the engineering and development team or the product designers, the existing product designers in the team are not doing a good job. All right, so I want to put it in the most respectful manner, and this would enable me land myself an edge. All right, because you never can tell, the product designer might be on the call, the engineering reps and HODs or we call them I think they are called I've forgotten, all right, but you know what they are called. So these people are the ones that are in charge of the departments, and they might be in the call. So you have to be very careful with the way you complement this thing. So you need to do your research, find out the problem that they have with their software, find out something to complement what they've done so far. All right, you can go as far as knowing who their owner is, knowing if they've gotten some major awards or whatever you can find on their website. You need to study it, make it feel like you are enthusiastic about working for them, because it takes a lot of passion to do such research that you are going to do. I know why I'm dwelling so much on this, because they would ask you in the question during the interview if you've studied about their product or if you knew their product, and you should be able to now link all of these explanations into what you've discovered from their product. So let them know, oh, I've gone through your product and I see the amazing things you're doing. I see that you have a beautiful website. I see that you have an amazing, aesthetically pleasing mobile app. I really love what the product designers have done in the onboarding screen. They are really amazing. And I must say, I kind of spotted a little issue when I got into the application. And this is something I would really love to fix when I join the company. All right, that would push a notion. I need to let them know what the issue was. All right, don't hold it. You never can tell. That might be an existing long-term issue that they've been looking for a way to solve, and they haven't found kind of a solution to that problem. Or it could be something they are working on at the moment, and that would send a notion that this person would be able to fix this for us. So you've given yourself an edge. All right, the next thing you need to do is be in the meeting on time. So I'm talking about the things you need to do before the interview. So be in the meeting on time. 5 to 10 minutes is perfect. All right, just be there. Have a clear background. Don't have a background like mine. All right, have a clear background. You can have a background like mine if you want to intimidate them. All right, but that's not the goal. All right, so find a plain background and stay there. Ensure that people are not passing through your background. All right, just like I'm recording this, there's no one in my room. In fact, the door is locked, so no one comes through. All right, so you need to ensure that there's nobody in the background. Don't be in a distracted environment. All right, so the next thing you need to do is ensure you dress well. In as much as you want to get a job and you work remotely and all, you still need to dress well. If I tell you I'm not wearing a native trouser, you won't believe. All right, but they won't know. I'm wearing my senator. I'm looking dapper. I think I look dapper. And just be in the meeting. All right, ensure you're very much prepared. Your sound gears is working. You've tested it with a friend or two. Whatever you need to do, just be in the meeting prepared. Read up on some past interview questions. Now, mind you, these questions are very important because you might find some patterns in the questions that you'll be asked during an interview. Now, there are certain people that will interview you that are not technically inclined in your field. Trust me, they would go online and they will get these questions, and these questions are put together by design mentors and industry recruiters that have done an amazing job over the past years. So they're going to put up these questions to help you understand the kind of questions that will come up. Now, mind you, like I said from the beginning, this is based on my experience. I've interviewed a couple people, over 10 persons, and some of them have landed the jobs. And I will tell you that the company was impressed by some of them based on certain things. And these questions would always arise. So you need to find those past questions online and study them. All right, study them. Now, like I said, let's get back into what you need to do during the interview. Now, during the interview, one of the key questions they are going to ask you is, tell us about yourself. And many designers don't know how to answer this. Frankly, you may not really understand it until you practice, and I practice a lot. All right, I'm not only practicing about designing stuff, I practice certain things because someday I want to work at Google and you guys will get to see it. Yeah, you get to see it. All right, so I want to work at Google, and one of the best ways I can do this is by practicing to talk about myself. Does that make sense? So yeah, you need to practice to talk about yourself. Aside getting those soft skills as communication and all of that, you still need to be able to express yourself. Now, start by talking about your achievements. Before you go into talking about yourself, whether you're based in Nigeria or you're from Oguni or you're from Calabar, wherever you're from, keep that last, all right? Nobody cares about all of that. Whatever you studied in school, well, we're not really interested in that because at the end, the portfolio does the talking, not the certificate. Do you understand? All right, so that's what you need to do. You need to start from your achievement. So if I was the one, I'm going to use myself as a use case. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the multiple awards that I've won. In December 2022, I won 3 awards, 4 awards actually. I won one in November from ADP List and the other 3 from the Hive. And then I've won a couple others from other platforms as well. I'm approaching 10, so I have to talk about this. I'll start by saying Davio, and I'm a multiple award winning designer. I'm a multiple award winning designer. I've been able to craft identities and solutions for certain brands across the world. And I'll be talking about the places I crafted some identities for XYZ brand. I don't want to mention their names, and for some notable brands. All right, I founded a community that helps designers grow in their respective field. Now, mind you, I did not rehearse this, so I'm saying it on the go. All right, and I have to go back to something after this. So I have a community of about 10,000 designers where I coach to grow their skill set in design. I also have a course that helps designers and newbies upskill in the industry. All right, I use my platform to share nuggets and informations that help designers. I'm basically talking about what I do that help people. So I'm kind of trying to pass a notion that I can bring some amazing support to the brand in different aspects. I don't want to spell everything out, but I guess you understand. All right, and then I would also talk about places I've spoken. I've been a speaker in several events, live and off, online or virtual events. I've spoken to over 50,000 people so far in my career. I have been able to grow a brand from startup level to XYZ level, and I was able to draw up pre-seeds from XYZ. Now this might be a lot, but I'm bringing in so much ideas in different angles that you can fuse together and pick out what you can and delete what you don't want. All right, and then when I finish this, I'm going to let them know I'm based. Obviously, they know I'm based in Nigeria. They've seen my CV. All right, so I'm based in Nigeria, and one thing I love about growing up in Nigeria was the ability to buy things that were very cheap at that time. All right, so you might want to spice it up with some stories, and that's why it's good you rehearse these things. Once you rehearse them, you'll be able to hit the nail on the head and just move on to the next one. All right, so but that is what I'm going to say. I'm going to say some more interesting things I love to say. I can't say them now, but there are some really cool things I say about myself during this interview. So I'm trying to mix my words so that I don't say some of them, and that's why you could see me going from left to right. All right, so that's how you talk about yourself. Talk about your achievements in the design space, not you buying a car or you buying a laptop, no, or you building a house, no, not those kind of achievements, please. All right, talk about the good ones that relate to your career, what you've done for companies, how you've upskilled them with your design, how you've done XYZ, helped XYZ, how you volunteered for XYZ, and this would give them a notion, but be brief. Right. One of the key questions they ask during interviews is, tell us about your design process, or what is your design process like? Now, most of you like to list these things. You would say, hey, I as a brand designer, I would take the brief, I would research, brainstorm, sketch, build out the grid, create the logo, choose the color, choose the font. You would just keep listing all of these things. Don't do that. What you need to do is basically explain these things. All right, see that you're talking to a novice. Don't see that you're talking to an industry professional. All right, everybody's going to say the same thing. So what would be more different from you? And this is where I like to say, own your own process. Don't use Davio's process as yours, so that whenever you wake up, you'll be able to explain your process to whoever is listening. All right, don't use my own process. I have my own process, and I'm going to tell you. So what I'm going to say during this phase would be, thank you very much for the question, and frankly, I love this question a lot. I've been asked this question several times, and I enjoy talking about my design process. My design process is very simple, but I like to go really detailed in the process to understand and get out all the feedback I need to make an informed decision. The first things I always do is get out the PRD, which most people call the brief. Now, by understanding what my client wants and understanding their user base, the user's demography, a lot more that are inscribed in a PRD, I'll be able to take the next step. And now the next step is basically me getting to know the users more. So I would be making user research, and this user research, I love to do interviews because I've noticed that surveys are very rampant. Even though it's important, I love to have one-on-one interviews with people, because when I have these interviews, one question can lead to another question, but during the survey, they pretty much answer my own question. So I love to have interviews with users, and then from these interviews I'm able to draw up user personas and get out a user story that would help me make informed decisions. Now, some of the things I'm going to spot in this process would be the users' pain points, the users' frustrations, their goals and achievements, and getting, of course, their biodata. With this, I'll be able to now move into brainstorming. Now, everybody knows that we all go to get brands that are existing. So from my from the brief or PRD, I'll be able to get out the competitors of the brand. And when I get out the competitors of the brand, I have to start there. So I get their products and get to analyze their product, go through this product and see the patterns in all of these competitors. This would help me get out the right concept that would stand out in the industry where my client's product is based. All right, from the user research, I will get out the data that I would now analyze that would guide me through this process, and then get out other ideas. There's a platform known as mobbing.com, and on mobbing.com you can find quite a lot of screenshots of existing applications and websites. So this would help me gather ideas that I would use to form a mood board, and with this, through this mood board, I'll be able to craft out my own wireframes on paper because I love sketching. So I have like a big note that I use for sketching. So with this, after this, I would move into creating low fidelities on Figma, and Figma is the tool I use for designing. All right, so and while I'm doing this, I'm basically testing the ideas that work best and understanding the product's life cycle. I'll be able to take it from that phase into the design phase. Now, many people think that high fidelity is visual design, but it's quite different. They have their similarities, but they're different. So I will take it to the high fidelity, and after high fidelity, I'll take it to a visual design. Now, I like to carry my clients along the processes that I take, and this is an unending process. So I'm going to take the client from each process, letting them understand my thought process in all of the decisions that I'm making during the phase of this design that would now help us arrive at the same result. And I love to test a lot. I love to prototype rather a lot. And so while doing this, I always prototype each screen, and this would actually help me find out if there are any missing screens or if there are anything that are not aligning with the scope of the design. And I love to talk about engineers because I always work with them. Now, working with the engineer or knowing the engineer would enable me make informed decisions in regards to certain flows and navigations, because I'll be able to learn about the engineer's strengths and I'll be able to learn about their weaknesses too, because everyone is at different levels in their design journey. And this would take me into the test phase. Now, during the course of the design, whatever I do from beginning to the end, I always test. I'm always testing the little details, ensuring that the users actually love this. And I like to test with people that are non-designers because it's going to help me understand what a typical user would see that I would not see. And this would help me bring out a product that users can use effectively. So aside from making this product aesthetically pleasing, I'm also interested in how functional and usable this design is. So usability testing is very important for me with stakeholders, with users, and a lot more people that I want to test this product with. So with this, we can now ship into launch. And that is the process that I take. I'm breaking it into this very short form because I have limited time, but this is pretty much what I do in a nutshell. All right, so that is pretty much what you would say when you're talking about your design process, and trust me, they would be listening to you. All right, the next thing I talk about here is know the responsibility. I know it didn't come in line with the way I would want it. It's pretty much me just going through this book and ensuring that everything aligns with the pattern that I have written it, especially posting it on Twitter. All right, so this is where like I said, responsibility. So you need to actually know this before before the interview. So you need to read out your responsibility. Many people just say UI designer and they apply, but there are certain jobs that will require a bit of understanding what development is and probably doing one or two things. So you need to be sure of your responsibility when you get into this design or when you're reading through this document. So ensure you do this because it's going to really help you during the course of the interview. All right. You need to know your niche's technical words. There are some technical terms like I stated, user persona, biases. Many designers don't know that we have different forms of biases or types. We have information architecture, we have empathy mapping, we have quite a number of them. All right, so you need to also know the types of user research. We have like the qualitative and the quantitative types of user research, and you need to understand them. All right, so you need to start your career by going through a course. Go through a course. That course is going to teach you the basics to whatever you'll be studying, and then when you know these basics, you basically would understand what to answer when you're asked a certain question. Something like design systems. So you need to understand how design systems work. You need to understand the guidelines that govern certain design styles, like the iOS designs and the Android designs. They operate on different guidelines. That's why you can look at your Android phone and your iPhone. They're the same application, but they're not having the same layout or the same actions in regards to certain actions you need to take. So they have different designs. So you need to know this thing. Now, Apple designs, you're going to find their guidelines on developer.apple.com. You're going to find all the guidelines for Apple designs there. And then for Android, you're going to find it on m3.materialdesign.io or go to materialdesign.io and you'll find it, or search on Google Material Design and you would find it. Please go through them, study them. All right, study them. Know what is involved in design systems. Now, know who creates this as well. Design systems are not created by just one person. Even though you'll be the one to design it at the end of the day, it's created by a body of stakeholders, developers, the product owner, whoever is involved, the entire engineering team, product designers, and every single stakeholder on the team. So these decisions would be made by all of them, and which will now go into design. And it takes a long time. It's not something you're just going to do very quick. So you need to know how to answer the questions when they ask you, how would you build a design system? All right, you get that, right? All right, so I'm trying to be like funny and it's not working, but let's get back to business. All right, so you need to be calm and only answer questions that you know. Only questions you know. Don't answer questions you don't know. Whatever question they ask that you don't know, let them know you don't know it, and that's why you want to join their company, because you believe, I believe that I would learn a lot from the rest of the team, and this would really impact my life and my journey as a designer, because learning never ends and we all learn daily. All right, and trust me, someone would be willing to teach you what you don't know when you join the team. I love the Saudis, I love Nigerians, but working with the Saudi brand, I have seen that they are very loving. They are willing to teach you at every time, whatever you're lacking. They are willing to just show you through what it is. They are willing to send you samples of things that you need to create, and this has helped boost my productivity. So you need to understand that you're going to be joining the team, so always talk about the team. When I join the team, and it will send a notion to them. I'm not saying this will work 100% for everyone, but you just have to try. All right, you just have to try to do that. You have to not show that you're overconfident. All right, it's good to be confident, and shout out to my friend. All right, but please don't be overconfident. Don't feel like, oh, I know all of this, I'm going to, before they ask one question, you've dissected it anyhow. No, listen before you talk. All right, talk when you're asked to talk. Don't sit in a kind of manner that would portray all of these Remember that an interview is basically to get to know you. All right, leave all the questions you'll be asked. Is getting to know you. There's a way you would answer these questions. They would not want to move to a test phase. Now, I went through test phase in all of the jobs I have, all right, and I know the kind of test I do, all right, not the kind of test we see now. All right, but there are certain ways you answer something and you would not go through a test phase. All right, I had a job last year that I did not go through a test phase. So please comport yourself, be humble. All right, no matter who you are, whether you're a senior designer already or you've built 1,000 companies, just comport yourself, because that job might be life-changing. It might teach you all that you need in life. It might not give you as much money that you want, but you could meet people that will change your life. You could meet people that will take you to the next level. All right, I've worked in places where even working there, the CEO is sending me gigs, sending me freelance gigs. Or Davio, I know you're not in it so much from this. I recommended you for a XYZ job, and my friend will reach out to you. So you need to be humble. Please be humble. Be humble. Right? Ask the interviewer to repeat whatever question they ask that you did not hear. It's normal for you not to hear Queen's English. All right, if you are applying for a foreign job. And NEPA just took the lights. We are back. So ask the interviewer to repeat themselves. It's not bad. They can repeat themselves, all right? Tell them to repeat the question and they will definitely repeat it, all right? It's not a big deal, all right? The next thing you need to do is always hit the nail on the head. Now, I'm explaining a lot and I'm not hitting the nail on the head because I'm kind of explaining a lot and I'm talking to a large group of people. So I need everyone to be able to understand what I'm saying. So I'll break it in very little terms, right? But you need to hit the nail on the head when you're answering the question. Go straight to the point. Now, you need to remember that you're not the only one they're going to interview that day. They're going to interview other people. So you need to be direct, hit the nail on the head, and go straight to the point, because they might have just 30 minutes for your interview. In fact, you will know. They're going to tell you, oh, your interview is from 5 to 5:30, right? And I've had to interview 6 people on the same day. So you need to be very, very quick with responding so that they can be able to go through the questions, important questions that they want to ask you. Now, there's a way you answer these questions. They may not want to ask you everything. The CEO might just prompt the recruiter that that person is who we want. All right. So you have to be very careful with this. So when we talk about trends, we're basically talking about, when you're being asked about trends, how do you follow trends? It's a question that you would be asked. Now, the way I've responded to this in the past is basically letting them know that they are trend setters in the industry. So we have amazing brands like Google, Apple, that always bring out certain updates. And these updates would help developers and designers design what is obtainable when it comes to iOS designs. All right. So these are the people you follow. So I let them know, hey, I basically follow trends setters in the industry, and these trend setters are basically Apple, Google, Microsoft, etc., and also mentors. And I understand that no new trend can come into the industry without going through this trend setters. All right, they have to go through it with other top designers around the world that work with also big tech companies, and they would come together to ideate and review what new trend or what new iteration or components that will be going into the market. And by following them, I would stay up to date with the new trend that would become popular in no time. So I follow them on social media, and I also go sign up to their newsletter. So by signing up to their newsletter, I get steady blogs and mails that keep me updated with the industry new standards. All right, and also I would not forget to give accolades to the industry giants and legends, like the mentors and secondary designers. Now, I call them secondary designers because they are the people that would get secondhand information when these trends come up. Like the people that reviewed the Apple's Vision Pro, they were secondary designers. They had to give reviews on their social media platforms, and these happened almost immediately. All right, so by following them, I would also be in the know of new trends, because I know regular designers can, like myself and some other people, cannot set new trends for the industry. All right, by doing this, I'll be able to position my mindset to what new trend to follow through with my design, based on making informed decisions from these top brands or industry goal setters or trend setters in the design industry. So this would help me stay informed. All right, we have come to the end of this, and I'm really hoping that this helps somebody out there smash their next interview. I don't know if I omitted any special questions, but these are the key questions that every recruiter would ask. And other questions are things that you can answer. Things like, tell me what a design system is, what is user persona. These are questions that I feel are not necessary. All right, but they may want to ask these questions. All right, but understand some of these things that I've mentioned, and they would help you scale your interview phase into the next phase. All right, and I'm rooting for you. And don't forget to put God first. All right, I know I didn't say this first, but don't forget to put God first. It's everything you need. All right, God can go before you and make everything smooth. It's very possible. All right, He works in extraordinary ways. And yeah, I'm rooting for you guys, and I will see you guys in the next one.